My name's Natalie Fairlie. I'm the Managing Director of Ascending Strategies, a strategic consulting firm working across Australia and Vietnam. I also happen to be the Vice President of Auscham in Vietnam, working with multiple professional communities and organisations seeking development and growth across Vietnam and Australia. My background is in law. I trained as a lawyer in Australia and worked in multiple corporate organisations, developing growth plans, strategies and building high-performing teams and boards. Today it's a pleasure to be with Chopstick Friends, and I've been given the choice to select a comic that resonates for me, and it was a really easy pick. I've picked this one here, which is all about short and long-term prosperity, gain and value, and it was an easy one for me to select. I used to work for a large organisation in Australia which was in relation to property and property valuers, and so value was always something we were focused on and supporting our clients to quantify. But value is not always visible, and I think this comic depicts this really well. But one of the other things about this and value not being visible is the invisible part of the value in this comic is much, much larger than what is superficially visible here. So actually long-term growth does take longer. It's maybe not as highly visible and promoted, but actually the gains are much, much deeper and richer. So this one really, really resonated strongly with me.
Thank you, Natalie, to be with us today, to be with the Chopstick Friend. With that regard, I would like to call you our What About Chopstick Friend. And you know, the Chopstick Friend, as you may know, is the metaphor, but that is something so related to when you talk about Vietnam, you talk about Asian people. Every time you come into dinner, they get you the chopstick. And it's really something encourages when talk about entrepreneurship, about governance, exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
And then we talk about the chopstick of, you know, the harmony between strategy and execution, people and system, you know, technology or people, entrepreneurship or business. Mm-hmm. So all of that, we need to find some alignment, some harmony, some balance. Otherwise, how can the chopstick can catch any food?
Yes, yes.
Or how can we not working together? Whatever the team would be, how can we achieve the particular goal or mission? Mm. So can you tell me what you think, how much that kind of image related to your work in Vietnam and Australia? Or how's the connection between Australia and Vietnam in particular in your special work that you're doing today?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a true joy to be one of the Chopstick Friends. I feel like it might be an exclusive club. So
I love to hear that. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Look, I mean, your theory and the theory of the Chopstick principles really resonates with me, and particularly as I've experienced, you know, over 2 decades now of work in strategic planning, legal, regulatory issues, developing and growing boards and mindsets. I love the philosophy of the chopstick theory that you've proposed. It is really, really true and accurate. Probably one other thing I'm very grateful for is when we first moved to Vietnam from Australia over 8-9 years ago, we brought our 3 young children, and they have mastered the art of using chopsticks. So now
do they need to use the particular
No, they
machine?
do not. They never did. But you're absolutely right. It fosters, actually, I think in learning to use chopsticks, may I say, as a Westerner, it really does embed a principle of slowing down, yes, focusing, using precision, patience, but the reward is incredible. Once you hit accuracy, you get that delightful, delicious food and taste in your mouth. So it is the coming together of the two. Look, my work does span a lot of the intersection of strategy and execution. In my earlier years in corporate practice in management roles, I would say it was probably more focused on the execution side of things. And as I progressed and as, I moved into more senior leadership roles, it was the coming together of the two, but still with more of a focus on the execution. Probably what was a lightning bulb moment for me, a real spark for me, was reporting to a board. As a senior level manager, I had to report on ideas for strategy, but also report on efficacy and efficiency of operational execution. But it was probably at board level that I started to see there was a really close interaction between what senior leaders at board level could actually support management with. So what you have there is a coming together, ideally a coming together of a diverse, deeply focused, intelligent, collaborative group of people that can really support strategy and enable really clear vision, really clear goals, refinement of those goals, that once those conversations conclude, the team are really enabled to go and execute. So I valued that enormously in my first C-suite role. I was a chief operating officer of a very large company in Australia, and then I became the CEO of that company. And what I found was the real gold, the golden nugget in really relying on that board to bring me, to grow me and to therefore grow my leadership. Absolutely. And then in turn, return to the team and share all of those learnings. But it was probably my first foray into the intersection of how compelling growth could be for an organisation where strategy and execution met.
That is really perfect way to get an opening and just as an ending of that, because I see that, whoever is the leader, even at the board leaders and then people underneath and people all the way down, they will see the picture of how they need to work together. And like you said, it's ideally, because when we work, all of these activities 15 years ago, maybe there was somewhere they would not even talk about that. We mentioning alignment. What does that mean? Let's put each one department here, another department here, and then they do the best job, and that we done. But the moment we start to realize when those particular department, the particular team, they don't work together, that's not every leader will see the hidden of the risk, of the problem, of the anything, you name it, until you actually face it, then it might be too late. So if you agree with us with the philosophy and the alignment, that put it that word, then can you picture what you see in of that alignment in two culture, one in Australia and Vietnam, from your experience? Do you see that there's people already think about it, working on it, or do we need, what is the difference between Australia or Vietnam, or especially in Vietnam? Do you think that there's many leaders out there actually see it, working on it, or do we need to do something to make it happen?
Look, I think first of all I would say that the progress being made already in Vietnam is excellent. There is a real preparedness and curiosity to really think creatively, think with real innovation, adopt technology, drive technology. So with that mindset comes a real mindset that if we plan and if we collaborate, we will grow faster. And we can see that by numerous policies of the government to drive incredible, fast change.
Do a lot,
Absolutely. So that's the right mindset, first of all, and any mindset for an Australian organisation that's also seeking global connections and global partners, that's a real easy meeting together. The challenge, and I principally work with Vietnamese companies seeking expansion into Australia, The challenge is always in the detail, though, of not only the strategy but the governance. So what I've seen Vietnam execute at a really fast, high level here is very agile. Let me take, for example, the banking and finance sector here. You know, becoming incredibly fast-paced with technology-enabled systems and processes. You know, lots and lots of experience in the sector. So it should seem inevitable that a lot of that technology and those providers should easily be able to come to Australia and support.
Yes.
Not so.
No.
Australia's regulation and Australia's requirement for its suppliers to be of a certain standard are very, very high. And you know, each country is different, but it is very, very high. So what is needed is a clear strategy to bridge the learnings and the power behind these Vietnamese companies to really connect in with what the Australian requirements are. And to do that, you really do need very sophisticated strategic plans. So that is really, really important.
Yeah.
And we have seen the Vietnamese companies that we are working for, some of whom are already based in Australia, are really, and some of who are seeking.
They already master it.
Well, they're in situ, they're in country, and some are seeking that in Australia. So what we are seeing is different levels of maturity of advancement of that strategy. When you get to Australia, just like I've experienced in Vietnam, the best way to learn is to be shoulder to shoulder. Be in the boardrooms together, be at the coffee, be at the cafe together, share an experience, and then bring your
drop beer too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we've really seen necessary to bridge the gap, and of course, very quickly thereafter follows governance. Very, very quickly.
Yes.